Last week I told you my labs came back showing I have pre-diabetes. So I decided I needed to stop guessing how food is affecting my body and take a look under the hood. I've been wearing an active glucose monitor over the course of the past week, and let me tell you, I thought I knew how my body responded to food. I was wrong. What was really surprising to me was not just what foods would cause my glucose levels to spike, but how having greater clarity about how my body responds to the fuel I give it actually helped me change my eating habits without having to try harder. Welcome to episode 4 of the Stewardship Project. For most of my life, I've basically eaten whatever I wanted to without giving a lot of thought to how food affected my body. I had to rethink that approach whenever I got my lab results back showing my A1C level is at 5.9%. Additionally, with what I'm trying to accomplish with this stewardship project and wanting to lose over 100 pounds this year and build muscle, gain strength, I decided I needed to take a more informed approach to the way that I'm eating. So I got on the internet, did some research, and ordered a continuous glucose monitor from a company called Lingo. This probably goes without saying, but this video is definitely not sponsored by Lingo. I'm sure they don't have a clue who I am. In case you're not familiar with what a continuous glucose monitor is, it's a little device that goes into your arm, connects to an app, and gives you real-time readings of your glucose levels. So after you finish a meal or a snack, you'll be able to see pretty quickly how your body's responding to what you just ate. I was actually excited to get my CGM in the mail. I opened the package like a kid on Christmas morning. I read through the instructions, downloaded the app on my phone. The device itself was pretty painless to install. It has a really tiny needle on the end of what looks like an air tag, and you put it into your arm so that you can be tracked by the government. Is this the mark of the beast? Once you install it and you have the app on your phone, it takes about an hour for it to load up and start giving you readings. And when I first had it on, I was checking it every 5 or 10 minutes. What's my glucose doing now? I just had some water. How did that affect me? I just breathed. How did that affect me? And I noticed that a lot of the foods that I'm eating right now don't actually have much of an impact on my glucose levels. And that's because I'm staying away from refined sugars and starchy carbs, things like that. Partly because I'm trying to get my A1C level down, but also because I'm eating more of a high protein, high fat, low carb kind of diet. But there were a few surprising things that I ate that caused my glucose to spike. Without a doubt, the most surprising thing that I have learned over the past week of wearing a CGM is that I run into walls like all the time. I'm not kidding. I've knocked 2 CGMs out of my arm in 1 week. So I'm already on my 3rd monitor. When I was putting the 3rd one in, I was telling my wife about it. And I'm distraught. I'm having a traumatic experience. I never thought I was so clumsy. And as I'm telling this to her, she tells me, well, have you ever thought about putting the CGM in your other arm? And I said to myself, you know what? That's a good idea. And so I did. I put the 3rd one in my right arm, and lo and behold, I've been able to keep it in my arm for a few days now. As I said before, I eat primarily high fat, high protein, low carb, so there wasn't a whole lot that I'm eating that I expected to spike my glucose levels. But there were a few things that I eat that I thought surely were having an impact on me. For example, one of my favorite snacks right now is a bowl of yogurt, a banana, and a drizzle of honey. I'll add in some protein powder in there if I haven't hit my protein goal for the day. And I thought with the banana and the drizzle of honey, this is probably not having a great impact on my glucose levels. But I was surprised to see that it was a pretty moderate spike after I would have that snack, except for when I ate that on Friday evening. Now, mind you, I didn't make great choices that night because I was trying to keep myself awake to finish preparation for teaching on Sunday morning at church. So I had some espresso around 10 o'clock at night. And after that, I had my yogurt snack. And that really messed with my glucose levels. To no one's surprise, I woke up in the morning and I was really tired. I felt like I didn't get any sleep. And it was interesting because I could look at my glucose levels and I could see how that affected my sleep. The other thing that I learned is that carbs are not scary.
That feels weird, but I'll allow it.
My wife makes pancakes with freshly milled flour, She sweetens them with just a little bit of coconut sugar. So I decided I was going to experiment and I was going to have some pancakes. And to my surprise, my body responded really well. What I learned is that if you're going to have carbs, it's better to eat your protein and fat first because it'll help keep your glucose level from spiking too high. Probably everyone knows that. I didn't know that. I learned that for the first time this weekend. Now, there were some things that I ate that caused a really big spike. One day for lunch, I had steak tacos. I took some leftover steak from the night before, and we get these Siete brand tortillas made out of almond, and we had one made out of cassava flour. I had one of each, and then I had an apple after my lunch. My glucose took off after that. And I learned that my body does not respond well whenever I stack multiple carbs. So there were the carbs in the almond flour tortilla, and then in the one with the cassava flour, and then also in the apple that I ate. This is probably a strange thing to say, but I couldn't believe that the thing that made my blood sugar spike the most was ice cream. Now hold on, it's not Bluebell. We found this ice cream called Ice Cream for Bears, and it's made with very simple ingredients and it's sweetened with honey. So I thought to myself, hey, I have a little bit of honey with my yogurt. I'll probably tolerate this pretty well. I was wrong. The nutrition label says the serving size is 2/3 of a cup. So that's what I had. Probably 45 minutes to an hour after I ate the ice cream, my blood sugar took off. From what I understand, you really don't want to see your number spiking above 140, and mine got really close and went all the way up to 137. I'm not planning to do too many more experiments like that. After all, I'm trying to get my A1C level down, but it was really helpful to see this information so that as I move forward, I'm better equipped with the knowledge of how my body responds to food. And that information is critical for me as I try to lose 100 pounds this year, but more importantly, so that I can know how to steward my body well long into the future. One of the temptations I've realized that I have in wearing the CGM is that I want to obsess over the data. And I want to eat in such a way where there's never a blood sugar spike ever. And from everything I read, that's not even realistic. And perhaps more importantly for me, that's not a healthy way to think about food. I'm not doing some crazy extreme diet. I know that sort of thing is kind of all the rage on YouTube and social media, but I know myself. And I know that that's only going to last as long as my willpower does. And once my willpower runs out, then I'm going to try to make up for all the time I lost eating the foods that I really wanted to eat. And that reveals something to me about the way I think about food and the fact that I need to learn how to think about food in a new, healthy, biblical way. You see, I believe that God made food to be enjoyed. After all, He gave us these taste buds that can experience sweet and salty and savory and spicy flavors. But He also created food to be fuel. It gives us the energy to serve Him and to serve other people. And my problem is that I've only thought about food through the lens of pleasure and enjoyment. I have to experience maximum flavor in every single bite that I eat, otherwise I'm dissatisfied. And if you eat like that long enough, you're going to be overweight and you're going to have a high A1C number just like me. So what I'm trying to do is train myself to think about food not just as maximum enjoyment, but how can I put good fuel into my body so I can have maximum energy to serve God and serve other people. And that's where the CGM data is actually really helpful, because I can see in real time what kind of food gives me good energy and what kind of food makes me crash 30 minutes to an hour after I eat it. That way I know what foods I need to have more of and what foods I need to limit. And that's the kind of decision making that's going to help me to live with endurance. What areas in your life are you working on making better decisions in? Comment below so that we can encourage each other. And if you haven't done so yet, make sure that you subscribe to the channel so that you can stay up to date with the Stewardship Project. See you next week.